Mathias, come over here. Do you want to do it from this little podium here? I think that might be quite cool. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nice to see you here and at home or wherever you are in the world. My name is Mathias Sundin. I'm the founder of the Warp Institute and editor-in-chief of Warp News. And we write fact-based optimistic news on technology, science, and human progress. So before that, I used to be in politics. I was a member of the Swedish parliament. And as a member of parliament, you get to meet a lot of people. And I made sure I met the people, the innovators, the entrepreneurs, people with big projects, big ideas for the future. So I got to visit them, I got to meet them, the scientists and all those people. And they told me about all their innovations, all their new ideas, all their projects. And I felt a growing optimism. All the time I met them, I felt more and more and more and more optimistic. And then, you know, when you come back from a meeting or from a visit, you Google and you want to learn more about whatever you've been talking about. And I often ended up in the news media reading about it. But I couldn't find the possibilities there. I only found the problems there. Well, only negative headlines and pessimism. And sure, we should absolutely think about those things, but we shouldn't let the problems and that overwhelm all the opportunities, because we might miss a lot of opportunities. So at the same time as I got more and more optimistic, I first got more and more frustrated and then angry and then really pissed. I turned sort of into an angry optimist, and I felt I have to do something about this. So I quit politics and I started this foundation, the Warp Institute, a non-profit. And what we do, we try to make the future come sooner by creating a community for optimistic, forward-looking people from all over the world. And we're over 50,000 people now from all over the world. Because we think that the future is created by optimists. And this is our most read article ever on Warp News by Kevin Kelly, the founder of Wired magazine. In it, he argues why the future is mostly created by optimists. It's also a great TED Talk if you want to watch that. We also have a project, climate-related project, Project Energy Society, with Swedish internet pioneer Jonas Birgersson. We think if we combine renewable energy with battery storage, and especially if we share that with each other, we can build a society where we have an abundance of energy, super clean energy, but also super cheap energy, but also super clean energy. We think that is possible to move into that society, which we call the energy society. Today I'm going to talk about what we call the optimist's edge. The edge you have if you have a fact-based optimistic view of the world. Because when you look at human progress, for example, extreme poverty and other things, very important things in the world, most people think that they are getting worse when they're actually getting better. And people think that about most things. If something is becoming a lot cheaper, they think it's getting more expensive. So if you look behind the headlines and you look at the facts, you can get the optimist edge, because there, if you understand something that most people don't understand, you find a lot of opportunities. And I think there's a lot of opportunities like that with climate change and solving climate change. So I'm going to tell you about 3 of the people I've met recently that are doing things to solve climate change, but they have something in common that is important to understand what's going on right now. But I tell you about the 3 people first. So this is Pernilla. She is the founder of Petgood. So she was an investment banker for a few years, but she felt an increasing sort of urge to do something about climate change, to do something in sustainability, but she was thinking about it, she didn't know what. But then she got a dog, the dog here, Siri, and when she, of course, then she started buying food for the dog, and she started thinking about that dog food. And she looked into that, and she found out that having a dog, if you have a dog, that's sort of the same climate impact as having a fossil-fueled car, if the dog eats meat-based dog food. So, of course, she started this company and developed a new type of dog food that are based on insects with much lower climate impact, also other nutritious values for the dog. William Berg, he also felt that he wanted to do something about climate change, but he didn't know exactly what. He started an education to do something in solar technology or maybe wind technology. Then he moved into battery storage. But he understood, okay, many people are already here solving a lot of these problems. But he found another problem, and that was the recycling of batteries from electric cars. There are sellers out there, there are buyers out there, but there's really no place for them to trade. There's no real price, there's no marketplace. So he's creating that marketplace so we can recycle batteries from EVs. Islam Salam is from Egypt, and his family has been in the food business there for forever. Then he came to Sweden to study, and he started to learn about sustainability and climate change. And he also felt, maybe I should do something. What could I do? And one day when he was making some snacks for his friends, he came up with this idea, because he was making lupin snacks out of lupin beans. And he realized this could replace soybeans, because soybeans in some parts of the world are responsible for some deforestation. It also has great nutritional value, and we can grow it here in Sweden and in Europe, for example. So he started Lupinta and is making food out of lupin beans. So these three people have something in common. They started thinking about sustainability, started thinking really about climate change a few years ago, 5-10 years ago. They had an increasing urge to do something, but it took a while for them to figure out what they should do. And when they figured out what they should do, that meant maybe a new education, a new career, start a company, and all that. All that takes time. But I think and those companies now are very young, so they have little impact right now. But I think as they grow, give them another 10 years or so, as they grow in the early 2030s, something like that, we're going to be experiencing over and over again the feel that, wow, where did all this come from? Here's someone solving this problem, and here's someone taking a huge stab at this problem as part of the whole sustainability and climate change. Suddenly we feel, wow, I didn't see this coming. No, because they're tiny now. And it takes time to change like this. And we should absolutely have started this journey much earlier, at least a couple of decades earlier, definitely. But it's going on now. These three people represent millions of people with projects, with companies, with ideas like this. So I think we should be inspired by them. We should, of course, not sit back and feel like, oh yeah, now everything is solved. Of course it's not. So, but there's a climate, there's a tsunami of climate solutions coming. And you know, a tsunami wave out at sea in the ocean, you don't see it. It looks like any wave. But when it comes into shore, it's huge. And that's what's happening right now. So they used really the optimist edge. They looked at a problem, and they saw opportunities in there. They saw an opportunity to solve part of the problem, to do something meaningful, impactful in their lives, but also to start a company. But you don't have to start a company. It could be an organization like We Don't Have Time or Warp Institute. It could be research, whatever it is that you're interested in. We have to change all of society. So there are many, many opportunities in there. And if you only look at the problems here and you get stuck there, you get depressed and you think, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. No one is doing anything about this. But a lot of people are doing a lot about it. And big problems means big opportunities. Climate change is a huge problem, but also means there's a huge opportunity, or rather thousands of big opportunities within climate change to help solve the problem, but also do something meaningful in your life. So thank you very much for listening, and to the future.
Mathias, that was, yeah, give him a big hand, right? And a big virtual hand from all the viewers. Thank you very much indeed. That was very inspiring and very interesting.